everybody, how y'all doing? It's your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha, represent Mocha's Cafe, the Academist, where I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. Big up to all of my subscribers. Again, I want to thank each and every one of you for still being a part of my channel and still being loyal subscribers. So I thought it was very imperative that I discuss today's recipe. Your boy Scottie Pippem, evidently he is still in his high value man bitter emotions. Scottie Pippem to Larsa after Malik Beasley had received a 120-day jail sentence. Go ahead, keep talking to these losers. Scottie Pippem and his ex-wife Larsa had a tumultuous story. They had 4 children together and lived a happy marriage after cheating rumors surfaced. They filed for divorce on different occasions, and right now it doesn't look like they are on the best of terms. Even though Larsa defended Scottie when The Last Dance showed how underpaid he was during his time with the Chicago Bulls, and then called out a lady for trying to expose her ex-husband, her recent words suggest the 6-time NBA champion isn't happy with Larsa's decisions. Last November, Scottie talked about Larsa's affairs, suggesting he's not bothered by anything the press says as they try to create narratives that only benefit them. He further states, I think the press caught the end of it and was able to try and plug it together. The press bothers you a lot. But do it really bother me? No, that's what they do. They create press. However, after learning what he said about Larsa's relationship with Malik Beasley, it looks like Pippem still cares about the woman. In a recent episode of The Real Housewives of Miami, the 47-year-old reality star revealed how Scottie reacted to Malik Beasley getting a 120-day jail sentence in February. When Malik got 90 days or something in jail, Scottie sent it to me. Pippem told her co-star Lisa Hochenstein, he's like, go ahead, keep talking to these losers. Maybe this is Scottie just telling Larsa to aim higher at the time of choosing her partners. But it also sounds like he's hurt by his ex-wife's romantic life. Larsa is revealing juicy details on the show as she previously revealed she was making $10,000 per month on a controversial platform OnlyFans. She dated Beasley for about 4 months, creating a lot of controversies around the league with their families criticizing the couple after a series of pictures saw the light. Now that relationship is over, but we're still learning details about the development and the ending. Larsa is still a controversial figure, and Scottie took the approach too, going after Michael Jordan and taking shots at him years after talking kindly about his former teammate. So, as y'all can see, Scottie Pippem is still in his feelings about his ex-wife. Of course, you know, that's to be expected, being that they have been married since what, 2007, I believe. I'm gonna look that up. Yeah, but they've been married for many years, and they finally had divorced, and make it so bad when she was caught, when paparazzi caught her in Future, you know, together at his penthouse, you know, that was when Scottie Pippem went ahead and filed for divorce, because of course, you know, it's his ego and the fact that his wife, you know, is being exposed with, you know what I mean, Future out of all men who don't have a good reputation when it comes to dealing with women. Of course, you know, he was in his feelings about that, and he felt disrespected and embarrassed, so he filed a divorce. So nevertheless, she was able to talk him into reconciling or working it out or whatever the case was. Then she turns around and she divorces him. So go figure. So again, yeah, they was married in 1997. So keep in mind, Scottie Pippem has multiple baby mamas. He had a woman he was engaged to or married to prior to that, before he met Larsa. Then he had 2 other baby mamas. And these baby mamas, of course, that he has his kids from, they all are black. He's never really acknowledged the mother of his children. He's never even really acknowledged his black children as much as he does his biracial children with his wife Larsa, for whatever reason. So, of course, you know, Scottie Pippem has been taking a couple of L's, you know, since this divorce with his ex-wife, Larsa Pippem. And the divorce is not finalized. They're not together, but the divorce is not finalized. So they have not reached an agreement as far as what the settlement is going to be. I'm sure eventually at some point he's going to have to pay off, or maybe they both are content with keeping it the way it is. That way, you know, he doesn't have to owe her half, but at the same time, she can keep benefiting from being Scottie Pippen's, former wife. That last name Pippen, it does carry some weight. It does. He's not as rich and famous as he used to be, but that name does carry weight. Pippen was an NBA champion, and he has had a very longevity career. So, nevertheless, it boils down to, why the high value man keeps getting ditched. We're seeing it become a continuous pattern. Same thing with Kanye West. Same thing with Carmelo Anthony. These men that are successful. Dr. Dre, same thing with his ex-wife Nicole Young, who recently just won a couple of millions. She got a good bit. Not enough to leave him broke or whatever. Dr. Dre has so much, businesses. He has so much income coming in. So she'll never be able to make him broke. She'll never be able to make him pay so much to the point that he's going to suffer. He's going to struggle because the man is a millionaire mogul. You know what I mean? But nevertheless, these women are, they're playing it smart. They make sure they put in their kids, they make sure they put in their years. They go along with the shenanigans just so in the long run they can benefit and cash out them checks. It's not a surprise that the majority of these women have been with these men over 10 years. Nicole Young been with Dr. Dre way over 10 years. Same thing with Larsa Pippen. Same thing, I believe, I don't know if Kanye West and, I gotta see how long Kanye West and Kim been married. But these women are making sure they're not walking away empty-handed. They're making sure they're going to benefit and be set for life. And they're making sure that they're going to be able to benefit and live off of these men names for a lifetime. Because again, just the fact that these women have been associated to these high value men. And let me break down what I believe a high value man is, because evidently it has nothing to do with value. It has nothing to do with a man's character. It has nothing to do with how he handles his business as a man. And basically, from what I'm gathering, high value man, from what I've been listening to with these different male spaces, it just has everything to do with his income, his notoriety, as far as how successful he is. And success should not define a man. A man should be defined by his character. Now, if he so happens to be successful, with positive character, then that's a whole nother thing within itself. Okay, so Kim Kardashian was with Kanye West for 7 years. So even though she didn't reach that 10-year mark, she made sure she had enough of children from him. So she will always be a part of his brand, a part of his network. And that's what a lot of these women are doing. A lot of these women, they get a lot of negative publicity, as if they're the gold diggers, as if they are the users. And I agree, a lot of that may be true. Let's face it, we know if Kanye West was a bus driver, Kim Kardashian wouldn't want him. If Scottie Pippen was a janitor at a high school, we know Larsa Pippen, as stunning as she is, she wouldn't even look at him twice. Let's just be frank. A lot of these men, and same thing with Dr. Dre, a lot of these men, they wouldn't even have these type of women in their lives if it wasn't what they had and who they were. That's just the bottom line. Let's just call it out for what it is. Same thing with Kevin Hart. Even though him and his wife Aniko is not divorced, let's face it, she wouldn't have tolerated him cheating on her after that big scandal and all of that came out, with his homeboy blackmailed him and put out the exposing him, messing around with some female or whatever. If he not made the money he made, she would have been ghosted on him. Let's face it, he's not, he's an average, he's not an ugly guy, but he's just very basic. You know what I mean? She wouldn't even be interested in him. She would look at him twice. A lot of these men are not understanding. And maybe they do understand that, and they use it to their advantage, but it backfires. A lot of these men like Dr. Dre, Scottie Pippen, these industry men, these athletes, these producers, they know that their status quo is the reason women are drawn to them. And the very thing that makes a woman attracted to you will be the very thing that she will use to get to where she's going. So the question basically boils down to, why are these high value men, these men that make so much money, these men that are so successful, these men that are so well off, why they keep losing their women, why their wives keep walking away from them? Well, you have to realize a lot of the time when you first initially get with these dudes, let's just be face it. Let's just call it for what it is. A lot of these women were groupies, okay? In many cases. Now, not necessarily a groupie who was hanging out in the hotel lobby, who probably was giving them head in the back seat of the limo. You know, these were groupies, meaning women who were fans, okay? Who liked them for what they were. Let's face it, all of these women were fans before they became these men, wives, fiancés, baby mamas. Scottie Pippen, Larsa knew about him being a fan, okay? Hanging around the games, hanging around, the NBA championships, things of that nature. Same thing, with Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian and Kanye, they were really friends for a long time. And I had a funny feeling they was going to end up together. I never forget, he did come on one episode of her show. He came on one episode. This was way before they got together and way before they got married and had children. He came on the show as a friend. And I can tell the way they were kind of talking then, there was a little vibe in that. But just the fact that Kim Kardashian brought him on her show, it was because he was Kanye West, okay? So a lot of these women were groupies, from a distance. They were once upon a time just fans of these men. And anytime, and we'll say Nicole Young, in her own way probably was a fan of Dr. Dre. A lot of the times, when you have these type of men who choose you out of all the women they could have been with, it does boost your ego. It does increase your self-esteem, because when you meet a man that is a producer, he's a famous rapper, or he's a famous athlete, professional athlete, football player, basketball player, and the fact that he's chosen you or wants to talk to you, out of all of these groupies, out of all of these women that are fascinated by them and their fame, it does really, make you feel as if you are special. You know what I mean? That, wow, this guy is checking for me. He's calling me, he's reaching out to me, he wants to be with me, he's visiting me, he's coming to see me, he's spending time with me, he's picking me up, taking me out to dinner at the most fine 5-star fine dine cuisine restaurants. He's picking me up in his Lamborghini. Respect to the dead. Kobe Bryant, when he first got with Vanessa was a plain Jane Hispanic chick, but she knew of Kobe Bryant even in her Hispanic world. There was nobody who did not know of Kobe Bryant, so she was a fan of him once upon a time. Again, she was a fan. So it's very fascinating, again, when you have men of that type of notoriety or social status that are interested in dating you, and even more so when they actually want to get married to you. You feel like you don't hit a jackpot, a gold mine. And there's not too many women that's going to turn down a man's hand in marriage, even if it's not 100% compatibility. Even if if he worked at a bus station, she wouldn't nowhere look at him twice. There's not too many women that are going to turn down a man who is successful and financially well off. So even if you're not attracted to the man, or you normally wouldn't date a man of his type, money has a way of making you change your mind. Money will make you compromise your morals, your your preferences, you'll find a way to compromise. So basically what tends to happen, why these high value men end up getting dished is because, for one, once they find out that there's more than what meets the eye when it comes to these type of men, these producers, these athletes, they're very exciting to be with, especially in initial beginning, because again, you're entering this life of being a professional athlete's wife, of being a high value man's wife. You get all the perks. You get all the VIP, first class treatment, red carpet treatment. You get all type of notoriety just being associated to these men, and a lot of women have benefited, like Russell Simmons' ex-wife Kamora Simmons. She started her own brand line, her clothing line, Baby Fat, just being associated with Russell Simmons, just carrying that man's last name added weight to her being granted a lot of opportunities that the average woman doesn't get. And that is the case with a lot of these women. They know being associated to these men, they get associated to the brand. And smart women anyway, they try to make something of it. You have other women that just don't want to try to make nothing out of it. They won't try to start a business. They won't try to learn anything. They just want to be pretty and dolled up, get spa treatments and get all type of surgeries and stuff done. But meanwhile, they're not doing anything fulfilling with themselves. When you're with these type of men, the world is your oyster. You can do so many things just because of his name that you got attached to you. So a lot of these women find out with all the glitz and the glamour. Like Nicole Young, I'm sure she saw that besides Dr. Dre, that part that she was fascinated with, the part that she knew was going to be the benefit to her, behind closed doors, she had to deal with Andre Young, which was probably a very dominating man, very controlling, pretty much called the shots, told her what she could do, when she could do it. Being with high value men are not easy. Again, on the outside, you're looking at the glitz, the glamour. And this is the reason why a lot of these women get dragged, when they divorce these men, because especially you have a lot of men that's looking at it like, who is she to want his success when he already had all of that before she came along? Who is she to try to want to take this man for everything he has, when she didn't contribute a damn thing in a relationship? Who is she? Women like Nicole Young and Larsa Pippen, they get dragged through the media like, how dare, what I mean? These women want money. How dare they leave these men that are successful and high value for young men, or just get, secure the bag and basically keep it moving. They get a lot of heat because a lot of these women find out there's a price to pay when you're with men of success. It's not easy being with successful men. It's not easy being with businessmen, business moguls, entrepreneurs. It's a lot that comes with that. And that's the part that a lot of people don't talk about, because again, men don't air all their dirty laundry as much as women do. So people looking at Nicole Young, people looking at Larsa Pippen, people looking at these women with the side eye, and the thing about it is, it's not easy being with these high value men. A lot of these high value men, for one, a lot of them are very controlling. Just because you're with the man that's, let's say he's worth 30 million, it does not mean he's going to let you just run through his 30 million. A lot of these men have restrictions, and I understand why in some cases they have to set boundaries and limitations, because some women are not good with money. They will run through a man's bank account. They will run through his assets. They will run through all of his hard-earned money if he doesn't place any restrictions on it. You know what I mean? So, sometimes as a man, you have to take charge and place boundaries and not let a woman just run through your bank account. But at the same time, you have some men that are so controlling. They give their wives the best of everything, but it's always some restriction. We don't know if Dr. Dre was one of those husbands where his wife, she couldn't just get any car she wanted. Maybe he was one of those husbands. It had to be a certain type of vehicle he wanted for her to have. Who's to say she was able to just go in a lot and pick out, I want this Lamborghini? No, I'm not getting you that. You better get something else. You know what I mean? A lot of these men don't always spoil their wives and let their wives do whatever they want to do. And that can be disappointing sometimes where you're with a man that makes all of this money and he has restrictions on you. He doesn't want you picking and choosing what house you want to live in. He's picking the house he wants y'all to live in. He's picking a Rolls Royce out that he wants you to drive. He's picking a Lamborghini. He's picking a Mustang. He gives you his black card that may only have $10,000 worth of money you can spend on it a month, while he's spending and buying all of what he wants to do with his money because he feels like he earned it and he's the breadwinner, so he can do what he wants to do and splurge and spend how he chooses. But you, on the other hand, he gives you limitations and restrictions. You know what I mean? So this is one of those parts about being a celebrity wife that a lot of people don't know behind closed doors. Sometimes a lot of people think these women can just get whatever they want, and that's not always the case. Some of them may have strict husbands that put them on the budget, or may have husbands that are just controlling, where he's just not going to let her do whatever she wants because he feels like the moment he does that, he's creating a spoiled brat. You know what I mean? So all of these high value men, they don't always let women live their best life. Another thing is this. A lot of these high value men, some of them are male whores. In most cases, most of them are male Jezebels. We don't know, really, these women who are with these high profile men. Most of the time, these men are not faithful. Let's just be clear on that. A lot of these men are not faithful. Why? I feel like this. A man is only as faithful as his options. The more options he has, the less chances of him being faithful. You got these men that got all these women throwing themselves at them. You got women, Scottie Pippem, he don't look that fine now. But I'm sure when Larsa Pippen got with him back in 1997, he had his physique. He was tight and right and had all kind of women checking for him. Even though he didn't marry, because you got some high value men that are like this. I'm taking care of you. I'm giving you money. I'm not marrying these other hoes that I'm messing with. I don't plan on leaving you for these hoes. So you got some men, they feel like they can be whores as long as they faithful to their wife, which is a big ass contradiction, because you cannot have side chicks and be faithful to your wife. But you got some men who really think like this. They really feel like, as long as I'm taking care of you, you the one with the house, you the one with the cars, don't worry about who I'm slinging dick to out here. Long as I ain't getting no babies, bringing back no babies or nothing, whatever, I'm smashing and passing and I'm making sure you still straight, then I'm not, as far as I'm concerned, I'm a good man. I'm a good, you knew what you signed up for when you got with me. You knew what kind of lifestyle I had. It's very hard resisting temptation when I'm constantly on the road. I'm constantly on tour. I'm constantly playing games. I constantly got to fly in and fly to all these countries and everything. You have some men who think like this, and they think because they are high value, they have high profile, that you should tolerate them doing whatever the hell it is they want to do. Now, again, I'm not saying this is absolutely the case, but let's face it, this is something a lot of these, celebrity wives go through. They go through these men being cocky and arrogant, and it's push you between a rock and a hard place, because it's like, I don't want to deal with this being disrespected, being cheated on. I know when he's gone for months at a time, and he takes his duffel bag with him to Beijing or Cameroon and Switzerland, and and New Amsterdam, you know, all these exotic places, Brazil, you know, and he's not answering his phone for months at a time. I know he's doing his dirt, and I don't like the fact that I'm being disrespected, but at the same time, I don't want to leave this life. I don't want to leave this 6, 7 bedroom mansion. I don't want to leave this beautiful, you know, mansion with these 6 cars in the driveway, the Benz, the Porsche, the Lamborghini. I mean, you have a lot of women that will tolerate all type of disrespect just so she can maintain that lifestyle. She does not want to have to go back to staying with her mama. She does not want to have to go back to having to work a 9 to 5 and settle for a Toyota Camry when she had this lifestyle where she was able to drive the Porsche on Monday, drive the BMW on Tuesday, you know, and drive the Phantom on Wednesday. You know what I mean? So it puts a woman between a hard rock and a hard place. But finally, when she gets to that place, because what tends to happen is when these high profile men, they get older, you know, things that you used to could do in your 20s and 30s, now that you're in your 50s, approaching your 60s, you know, you don't have that same sexual stamina. You don't have that same energy, you know what I mean? Because you don't sit out there and you don't slam the guts between so many women. You might have lost your libido, or you know, the sex drive isn't as high, or just basically you just done lost your interest. You know, you want to settle down, you want to be a husband now because you basically done did everything you wanted to do throughout the majority of the duration of the marriage. You might have been married to this woman for damn near 25 years, and you decide to settle down and be a husband on the 20th year. So for 20 years, she had to go through hell and deal with you cheating, lying, running around town, being caught by the tabloids with all these females or whatever. Now he wants to settle down because he done did everything he wanted to do. But what tends to happen, because women, we hold on to things, we say we forgive, say we're forgiving and going to let bygones be bygones, but women in all actuality, we never forgive like we say we do. We never truly forgive. You never get past being disrespected. You never get past knowing your man that had his penis in other women, even if it didn't produce a child in the process of it or nothing came out of it. But you know, you've seen the text messages, you've seen the naked pictures in the cell phone, you had to deal with 20, 30 years of that. So finally, when these men get old, now they want to be a husband, and it's like the tables have turned. You know, when I wanted you to be into me, you was into other broads. Your penis was into other places. Now that you done got old, you know, and you done ran through all these women, now you ready to settle down and be a husband. You have a lot of these high value men, they'll do that, especially ones in the industry. They'll want to settle down after they done did everything they wanted to do, you know. Now they want to be husband material. And at that point, it's like, damn, you over it. Some of these females, you got some men who feel like, okay, I done got tired of hoeing. Now, I want you to want me now that I'm tired of hoeing. You got some guys that are like that. Now, he done rip and ran the streets. Now he ready to sit down. He don't run the streets as much anymore because, you know, he done got all the coochie he don't want it. He done smash all the chicks he wanted. He tired of it now. Now you ready to run the streets. You ready to wild out. No, he wants you to settle down because now he's ready to settle down. And it goes vice versa. You have some women that do the same thing. You know, they let all type of dudes smash them, and now they ready to settle down. You know what I mean? After they done been ran through, now they want to be somebody's wife. And you got some dudes like, oh hell no, you want me to be the nice guy to settle down with now that you done hold out. You know, and especially like I said, dealing with men in the industry, a lot of women go through that. We don't know if Dr. Dre was one of those men. You know, yeah, they might have been together 25 years, but we don't know who's to say he been faithful a whole 25 years. Now, this is not to shed light on Nicole Young, but you have a lot of these women, they take a lot of bullshit, you know, so they can get to the main goal. You know, they realize, you know, I don't want to be in this marriage. I'm not even in love with this man anymore, but at this point, you know, we got 4 or 5 kids together. He has all these businesses. You know, he's got all this money. You know what I mean? I got to put in 10 years. So the judge will rule things in my favor. I got to put 5, 6, 7 kids into this. I got to keep putting kids into this. So that way, even if I'm not with this man, I could continue to still have that lifestyle and not have him no longer controlling me or placing restrictions or boundaries on how I spend the money, because we're not married, we're not together anymore. So Scottie Pippen decides to text his wife after Malik Beasley got sentenced to 120 days, which really ain't much of anything. But he decides to use that as his opportunity to stunt on her and tell her, you keep dating losers. Well, the reason you so hair burnt about it, because you underestimated, you figured you had your wife wrapped around your finger and that she would never leave you because you're this high value man. You're this high profile man. You're this legendary athlete, professional basketball player, and I cannot take that from Scottie Pippen. He's definitely a legend in his own right, but he underestimated his snowfake. Not snowflake, snowfake. She faked her way into making him believe that she was going to be with him for a lifetime. And he's butthurt because his wife has been busting it wide open all over town. She has an OnlyFans account. And the bad part about it is he can't do a damn thing about it. You got to realize the majority of these men were very controlling the majority of these marriages. They wives had to go to every goddamn sports event with him. Not because she was excited to goddamn go. He will make her go. No, you going. You're not going to be home tonight so you can turn up and go have drinks with your friends. No, you're going. A lot of these women have to smile and fake the funk and pretend that they are happy with these high value men, and in actuality they won't out of these goddamn marriages. In the moment where they can seize the moment to jump out these marriages, they're going to take it, they're going to use it to their advantage. Nicole Young waited on their 25th anniversary. Now, out of all any day she could have waited, she decided to wait until their 25th anniversary, to end a marriage. And Dr. Dre did not choose to end that marriage. Nicole Young did. And most of the time it's the women who walk out. And I know it's a lot of male content creators say that, it's always the women who end up leaving these men. You know why? It's rarely the other way around, because in most cases, a lot of these men pretty much have done all of what they wanted to do. And no matter what, the woman stayed. But with their own right, a lot of these women get what they asked for because you tolerated the disrespect because you wanted the lifestyle. So I would not sit up here and blame all of the men, because I will say that women, we play a part in being disrespected. It's securing that bag, it's securing that lifestyle. Nobody wants to have to go back home with their luggage and stay with mama and have to work at a shoe store somewhere. So a lot of these women would tolerate all type of stuff, but at the same time, these high value men, they chose to marry these specific type of women for a reason. Look at Larsa Pippen, for example. She's I will say this, she's a beautiful woman, but we all know she done got all type of surgery. She got all type of stuff done, but she still looks good for her age. Let's face it, Scottie Pippen chose Larsa because of her looks. She didn't have nothing else to offer. The majority of these men choose these women for their own personal reasons. Either they choose these women because they're beautiful. Most of the time it's looks. A lot of these athletes, rappers, these industry men, they don't want unattractive women. Even if the unattractive woman would be an asset to him, she had real genuine intentions. These industry men think they have a sense of entitlement, which means they're supposed to have a trophy wife. They're supposed to have somebody on their arms who they can show off and be proud of. Scottie Pippen did that. Nicole Young, even though a lot of people say she's unattractive, but Dr. Dre evidently felt like he had the most beautiful thing walking, because every time when they were together on the red carpet, he was so proud of his snowfake. He was, all so affectionate with her, holding her, hugging her. He was in love with that woman. You know what I mean? So for everybody to be on some, have all type of hate for her, like she's a strong face. She's not even that cute. She's not even that pretty. Well, Dr. Dre felt like she was the best thing since sliced bread. So it knocking how she looks, that's knocking, Dr. Dre's taste. That's knocking his preference. You have to realize whenever you talk bad about these men's ex-wives or wives or whatever, you're basically insulting these men. You know what I mean? So for these guys that's trying to cape for Dr. Dre by saying, well, she wasn't that cute, she had a strong face and all of that, but you're insulting him because that was the woman he chose to marry. So, you know what I mean? A lot of y'all don't look at it that way, but it is what it is, So, it's definitely, it's a lot that comes along with the territory of dealing with being with a high value man. Again, Scottie Pippen, he's in his feelings. He don't understand. I'm a high value man. I had all these millions. I'm a legendary, professional athlete, and she decides to downgrade, you know what I mean, and get with this young buck. And trust and believe that's beating up his ego. You got to realize a lot of times when these women have been married to these men for long periods of time, these men were young. Like I said, Scottie Pippen still had his physique. He was not a bad looking guy back then. He's older now, She's probably not even that attracted to him. To be honest, Larsa Pippen is getting younger and looking younger, of course, with all the help of surgery. Scottie Pippen is looking older. Probably every time he took his clothes off, all she saw was that taco meat, and probably saw his little gray hairs on the scrotum sack, She's probably not even attracted to him anymore. She was fascinated when she first got with him because he was young. A lot of these dudes get older, and sometimes if you didn't genuinely love that man for who he was, you'll lose your attraction to him, because basically you was feeling him on a groupie status. And a lot of these women be feeling these guys on a groupie type of status. But as these guys get older, and they start graying, they putting on weight, or they can't get it up as much, they lose all type of attraction. But Scottie Pippen, he's very bitter, for him to reach out to her and say, you're picking up these losers, you know what I mean? You picking up these dudes, who basically are failures, but in your own right, Mr. Pippen, you also failed because you chose a woman based on how pretty she looked. Now, also, you've always advertised your biracial children, but you've never advertised your black children. You never ever talked about them. You never acknowledged them that often. Your son, God bless his soul, who just passed away, this last year, he passed away, nobody knew his son existed until he passed away, and his black son from a black woman. Nobody knew that this man existed. He unfortunately died of natural causes. He had some type of medical condition that contributed to his son's passing. So, that was nothing that he could have done or his son could have done anything about. His son was 33 years old when he passed. Yep, and that was April 19th of 2021. So, like I said, you choose these women because they look like good arm candy, and when these women done got used to the lifestyle, they done got used to driving the Benz, they done got used to driving, the Phantom, now they want to got that and experiment with something more young and more fun. I'm sure that Malik doesn't have near as much, money or success, as Scottie Pippen. But the way Larsa looked at it, he's more exciting, I'm sure it's things because of his youth that he can do in the bedroom that Scottie Pippen just can't do anymore. She's attracted to the fact that he got that youth, he got that spunk, He got that adventurousness to him, you know, things that Scottie Pippen then got too older, you know, and I personally believe that sometimes when you get older, you need to also get somebody that's on your same level as far as age wise. You one of those old men, you feel like because you still rich and successful, you're supposed to always have a young tenderoni on your hands, you know, and that may be great, but after a while you got to realize this young tenderoni, you know, once she done got used to you and done got used to your money, sooner than later she's gonna miss or yearn the youth of men that are in her same age bracket. Now, she may never might want to get to that point where she's willing to leave her older man who's well established and successful. But at some point, she's going to slip and slide. She's going to test the water. She's going to miss that youth. She's going to miss the essence and the stamina of a man her age. You got to realize once you become an older man, just certain things you can't do anymore, and certain things you don't want to have to keep doing because you did it in your younger age. You know, so you don't want to be always wilding out. You know what I mean? That's why sometimes you better off dealing with somebody your age, because a woman your age, she understands, because it's things that she used to could do in her youth that she can't do. That's why it's really better that you know, these men who start off in the industry, that they learn to keep their women that started off with them in the struggle. That way when they aging gracefully together, like Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington and Pauletta have been married for years, and both of them are aging gracefully through the years. I'm sure it's a lot of things physically she has noticed he has changed, and he has noticed the same thing about her. But this is the blessing when you have had two people married and been together for a long substantial amount of time. You can easily adjust to each other's changes because y'all have always had that love for one another. So love is what keeps y'all accepting each other's changes physically, emotionally, mentally. Because you're looking at how much you love that person. It's not just physically how they look to you anymore. You know what I mean? So Scottie Pippen, yeah, he sounds very bitter, and he has every reason to be. This woman who he's been with all of these years, who had all four of his biracial children from, he keeps seeing her making a fool out of herself. And the thing is, he is older, but he does know more than her. He does know he's seeing her become a train wreck. But at the same time, when you choose a young woman because of how she looks, this is what they do. When they ready to counsel you, when they done got bored spending money with you, living in a mansion with you, when they done got bored and tired of you because you've given them so much, there's nothing else left to the imagination. Now they're ready to go out there and explore. They're ready to go out there and find a new adventure. And Scottie Pippen, he's butt hurt. He's still angry that his wife keeps picking up men who he feel are beneath him. That's why he was so comfortable and saying she keeps picking up losers. Well, sir, do men not realize because you are successful that does not mean you can't be a loser? You was a loser based on the fact that was the type of female you chose. You chose a female that much younger than you and thought she was going to be with you for the rest of your life. So don't think because you're successful you can't choose poorly, that you can't make loser decisions. You can make loser decisions, you know, even with your success. You know what I mean? Like no different from Nicki Minaj, who's successful, but look what type of man she picked up. Your success does not define that you are smart. Your notoriety, you know, your accomplishments does not make you less exempt from being a failure. Scottie Pippen, you didn't fail as far as success, but you failed in a woman you chose. You chose her because she was pretty, she had a body, she looked good. You want to have beautiful biracial babies, and this is the outcome that you get. You know what I mean? So it has nothing to do with her color. You should have just chose a woman who was really a woman, who was really about you, who wanted to grow and build and have something with you. So hopefully men learn from this. Because you become successful, you feel like now you could purchase your preference because of your money and your notoriety. You could be selective, you could be picky, you can say, oh, this is the woman I want. And because you chose that woman, that don't mean that's the right woman for you. That don't mean that's the woman that's going to be down for you. So you got to pick and choose your battles, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, y'all, leave y'all comment below. Do y'all think Scottie Pippen was bitter when he made that statement saying that, you know, she's picking up losers? Or is he still trying to look out for her best interest by saying, hey, you know what I mean? You out here in these streets, you wilding out, you picking up these young bucks, you know what I mean? You downgrade, and you know, is he looking out for her best interest? Or is he bitter? Because let's face it, every time we hear the word bitter, it's automatically associated to woman. But there are some bitter men out here are bitter because they don't understand, because I'm high value. How dare you not want me? How dare you get a low value nigga over me? You got some men who's very arrogant and full of themselves and really think that they should always be, you know, a winner. You know what I mean? And any other man that's chosen outside of them is automatically a loser. So anyway, y'all, make sure y'all hit that thumb up before you exit. Leave the comment below. If y'all have not subscribed to Mocha's Ladies Lounge, ladies, make sure y'all do that. This your girl, deep and knowledge, Lady Mocha. Remember, we're going to always pour you a cup of truth and break you off a slice of knowledge. Y'all be blessed. Take care.